Yes, it's the big one, the greatest sporting occasion of the year. It's Grand National Day, and this is Good Morning Aintree. Joining me to talk about the world's most famous jumps race is Paul Kealy, Charlie Poste Rory Delargy, and, prick your ears, it's back. Finders Keepers from Paddy Power is back. And we have got Ali Vance to tell us all about it. How are you, Ali?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me along. I'm not quite sure what I've done. You guys get the Chesterfield sofas here and I get the little green stool. But
sorry about that.
It is a big day. Paddy Power are giving 150,000 quid, whether that's euros or pounds, whatever your account is in. They're giving 150,000 pounds away this morning. 30 lucky people are going to get 5k dropped into their account. All you've got to do is log on to your Paddy Power account. So let's start the clock then. We've got 15 minutes. It is off. So check now. 10 people will have 5,000 in their account. All you've got to do, as I said, no catches, is log on and see you've got 5,000. And it's only going to be there for the next 15 minutes.
Oh yes, Ali is going to be everybody's best friend this morning. So you can't say fairer than that. 150 grand for the next hour. Like, what a time to be alive. Check your Paddy Power accounts. Finders Keepers. Paul Kealy, how are you, my old friend? Yesterday was tough.
I'm struggling. Yesterday is tough, yeah. They watered overnight on Thursday, chucked it down with rain on Friday. I backed loads of good ground horses.
Oh, you're blaming the weather now, yeah?
Well, I've got to blame something, haven't I? It was terrible. Yeah, no, absolute shocking day. We can
But
only
you're in good
onwards
form.
and upwards.
Yeah, Grand National Day for you. Your earliest memory, how far back are you going?
Boring but true. Red Rum's third. That's the fun. I was 9. And I think it was the first time my dad let us have a bet, but he just insisted. He just told us what
You were 9.
Well, he put 10p on for us and whatever, but he insisted that every one of us had to have Red Rum as one of them, so we had no choice of that. So my first bet was a winner.
Excellent. And we also have a man on the panel today who's actually ridden over the Grand National course, Charlie Poste. Great to have you here.
Thanks, DJ. Yeah,
how did it go?
The first time I torpedoed down at Beecher's Brook. Yeah, I was coming down as soon as I took off, and then I did get round the Beecher, so yeah, slugged my way around. Once they modified the fences, it's a lot easier then.
Yeah, absolutely. For a jockey, I presume the weigh-in room today is just golden, is it? Everybody is mad looking forward to it.
Yeah, very much looking forward to it. I think it'd be quite a tense atmosphere as well, I've been up there a few times on the Saturday, and it's a big moment, for any jockey. Like, this is what it's all about, just riding the race, never mind, actually going out there to conceivably win it, so it's a high octane stuff and quite a lot of tension, everyone goes on that Aintree's all sort of laughing and joking compared to Cheltenham, but I think when the hour comes around before the National, things get hushed down again, and there's a lot of people focusing on the job in hand. Yeah, absolutely.
Rory Delargy, I don't think you ever rode in the Grand National, but I could be wrong.
No. I did also have my first bet in the Grand National, much as Paul did, except I was 5 rather than 9. And I can't remember whether my dad picked the horses for us or whether he asked us to pick them out. But I remember that myself and my older brother watched it. There was 4 of us. I think we all had a bet, but only 2 of us watched the race. He had Andy Pandy and I had Red Rum. And Andy Pandy was clear at Beecher's second time. When Andy Pandy toppled over, he turned away in disgust and has not watched another horse race since.
Wow.
Whereas I was glued to the set, willing Red Rum to finish in front of the riderless horses because I had no idea whether they still counted in the race or not. So, and that was me. I was set for life.
Ali, you've worked at plenty of Grand Nationals. One of the hardest working women in show business. Your favourite Grand National?
Well, look, memories. Every year there's such good stories, good memories from the Grand National. But going back to sort of the first time that I guess that's got my interest in racing was Party Politics in 1992. Oh, yeah. Got that on the sweepstake. I was 7 and I won £12, and I thought, that's it, I'm done for life. I could retire now, whatever. I thought it was amazing. But it just, it's just every year the stories, and I think we've got those backstories this year are so strong, particularly. Absolutely.
We're going to have a quick chat about yesterday's action at Aintree. And Paul Kealy, Jerry Colombe made up obviously for his near miss in the Brown Advisory at Cheltenham. Everything was far more straightforward yesterday.
Yeah, he was very.
Can he win a Gold Cup?
He was very good. Can he win a Gold Cup? Depends on what form Galloping Deschamps in next year, isn't he? Because any horse that wants to win next year's Gold Cup's got to get to a very, very high level because he was a very, very good winner and he's only 7. But Jerry Colombe, yes, he can definitely be a challenger, can't he? Okay, that wasn't the strongest race yesterday, but it was as smooth as you like, wasn't it? And he's a very likeable horse, isn't he? Yeah, so yes, he can be a challenger. But it all depends on, Galloping des Champs is going to be the one to beat. He's going to be a short price favourite, unless it all goes pear-shaped between now and then.
Charlie, Harry Cobden, he's just glorious, isn't he? Picked Dory yesterday. That was poetry in motion the whole way from Harry. He's definitely my favourite British jockey. He's definitely in the top 3 jockeys in Ireland and England, and he's just getting better, isn't he?
Praise indeed, yeah. He's a very young man as well, isn't he? So he has it all in front of him, and got a real big game temperament, hasn't he? As in, since Ruby, you've not seen anyone settle into that hot seat with Paul Nicholls quite like Harry Cobden has, hasn't he? He has that sort of air of being able to distance himself from the pressure of that role that Ruby was able to, and Paul likes that. It's almost like the less they give him, the more he wants them, as in, so and it doesn't seem to faze him at all, he doesn't get on top of him, and you need that, because Paul is the ultimate competitor, and as a rider, you've got to accept that he's going to get combustible at times, and you've got to let it brush off you, and Harry Cobden does that as well. I'm not going to say as well as Ruby, but certainly as well as anyone since Ruby.
Absolutely, it's a big call from Paul Nicholls to make him his number 1, but it's certainly been justified. Rory, your highlight of day 2 of the Grand National meeting was? Before you give us that, we have locations on Finders Keepers. Ali Vance, look at those lovely locations.
Yeah, 10 people have got 5,000 in their account, and they are in these cities: Leeds, Liverpool, Sutton and Ashfield, Roscrea, Selbridge, Boyle, St Helens, Aberdeen, Longford and Claremorris.
Claremorris in Mayo, would you believe? There can't be more than 10 people living in Claremorris. So if you're from Claremorris, surely you've won $5,000. Check your account. Those are the 10 locations. There's $5,000 in those accounts.
$5,000 in those accounts, and if you want to keep the $5,000, it's only going to be there for the next 9 minutes. You've got to withdraw that cash. So check your Paddy Power accounts. I don't know what people are doing if Grand National morning if they're not looking at their accounts, but check your accounts. If you live in one of these cities, you could have $5,000 in your Paddy Power account.
Phone in one hand, Paddy Power account. Good morning, Aintree in the other hand. That's what. Just check your account. There's $5,000 there. Definitely, if you're from Claremorris, check your account quick. What was your highlight yesterday, Rory?
Probably Jerry Long, to be honest. I thought he was the class act on the day, and he's such a likeable horse, such a handsome horse as well. Whether he's going to win a Gold Cup is up for debate, and he probably always is going to need softish grind. And you're aware that he was a little bit uncomfortable coming down the hill, maybe in the Brown Advisory, but he's a smashing prospect. It's something to look forward to next season.
And Rachel Blackmore, obviously yesterday. Before we go on, brilliant bit of horsewomanship in the Novice Hurdle, obviously within the pocket. I thought it was a brilliant piece of analysis from Ruby Watts, just picking out what she did. She lost her whip, obviously, but went back to her pony riding days, and she was brilliant. And it's turning out to be a really good Supreme, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Worked out really well. Obviously, he's won it, and the runner-up was quietly fancying Supreme and finished down the field. But that's working out really well, and we're ready to see quite a lot of money for the Supreme 6th today. In the 2.5 mile.
Dark Raven, correct?
No surprise that those who come out of the race have run well. So it's just looking like the most. I think the question asked a little bit afterwards about whether the Ballymore was the stronger of the two races, but the Supreme is certainly living up to his reputation at the moment.
Absolutely. Well, that was yesterday. You don't care about yesterday. Yesterday is done and dusted. Let me tell you. We need to move on to the big one. It's the Grand National. It's 5:15. It is the race that stops the world, never mind the nation. And your current 9-1 favourite is Delta Work. The rain has come for Delta Work. He's now favoured. It's 10-1 Noble Yates, last year's winner. Gaillard de Menil is 10-1. Ain't That a Shame is 10-1. Corra Traveller is 10-1. Mr. Incredible is 12-1. 14-1 Annie second now. 14-1 the big dog. And it is 16-1 Bar. So currently your favourite is a Delta Work. Paul Kealy, we're going to start with you on the Grand National, okay? Delta Work obviously is favourite at the moment. Do you think he'll start favourite, or what do you think the big plunge will be on?
I have absolutely no idea. I mean, earlier on in the week, Cormac Rambler must have been well odds on to be starting on favourite, and now he's out to 10-1. Delta Work's favourite. Ain't That a Shame was favourite yesterday morning, wasn't it? So who knows? One of them's going to be a big move. You wouldn't be that surprised if it was Ain't That a Shame again with Rachel Blackmore, would you? But look, it's a long while since a 10-year-old won the race now. It's become a race for younger horses. So Delta Work is obviously exposed. We know how good he is. His best form in recent years is obviously in those cross-country chases. Is he going to be favourite? I'd have thought not.
Are you surprised Delta Work's favourite at the moment?
No, I'm not.
You're not?
I think he will definitely start favourite Delta Work.
Why?
I think he's the one proper soft ground performer. If that rain I know they haven't got as much rain as we were thinking. It's still good to soft in places, isn't it? On the
yeah, it hasn't changed officially since the start of the week. So.
I think
it'll be softer than that.
It's going to be softer than that. He's the one that you'll say will absolutely adore soft ground. He's got a little bit of that Tiger Roll thing about him, given he won the cross country. He's in the gig in St. Colours. He's trained by Gordon Elliott. I think he'll start favourite. You don't.
I'm just surprised with the credentials of Galado Manil. Ain't that a shame with the Rachel Blackmore factor and Korak Rambler, £10 well in and for connections that have taken the race out before. I just thought Delta World had his chance. You need him to jump more fluently through the first circuit, don't you? Be closer. I just think that there are question marks with him, and maybe not so much with a couple of the others.
They think he's a different horse this year. Gordon thinks he's in better form going into the race. Keith Donoghue thought he bolted up in the cross country. Vibes from the stable are very strong, and it's interesting that that's been vindicated in the market as well. Rory, what do you think he'll start favourite?
I think Korak Rambler will start favourite in the end. Again, there've been moves yesterday. I think a lot of the moves.
Rory, I'm going to have to stop you again. I'm going to have to stop you. We have names, Ali. We have names.
We do.
Joanne and Claire Morris.
It is Joanne and Claire Morris, if you know her. Do you know her, Dave?
No, I don't. I know one person in Claire Morris called Mairead. Unfortunately, it's not Mairead. It's Joanne. But
look, check your accounts if you're Donna in Leeds, Angela in Liverpool, Catherine in Sutton in Ashfield, Paul Daniel in Roscrea, Claudia in Selbridge, Davy in Boyle, John in St Helens, John in Aberdeen, and Alexandra in Longford, or Joanne in Claire Morris. Check your accounts, because you could have £5,000 or euros in there. You've got to withdraw it within the next 4 minutes to keep it. So check your accounts. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, I think if you are a Joanne and Claire Morris, you've got a better chance than Angela in Liverpool. Okay, so if Joanne, if you're watching, you just got to log into your account. There's £5,000 there waiting for you. Rory, I'm very sorry. That's the second time I've done it to you. It's very important. It's 150 grand. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I couldn't agree more. We were talking about who'd be favourite for the race. I think a lot of the market moves yesterday were sort of preemptive market moves rather than weight of money moves. You know that people are going to back certain horses. They talk about the housewife's choice and stuff like that. So I think some of those market moves are in anticipation of who's going to back certain horses. I think when the real money comes in very late, I think you just can't ignore Korak Rambler. He's very well weighted. He has his quirks, but to win 2 Ultimas at the festival the way he has, he must be favourite on the day, and he definitely has to be on anyone's shortlist.
Right, Paul Kealy, I've spent the last couple of days with you, okay? Mm-hmm. And you've been making a compelling case for an Irish challenger, I have to say. And the closer the race is getting, the more confidence you seem to be getting. I spoke to Willie Mullins yesterday, and he said the word class 3 times about this horse. Bit inexperienced, but I think he's got a lot of class. One thing I will say, Willie Mullins' horses that are running today did have travel delays, which is a little bit of a worry if you do fancy a Willie Mullins horse. He was at pains to tell me that they have had an interrupted passage over to Aintree, so that's obviously a little bit of a negative, but hopefully it'll be okay. But he did say 3 times that your fancy is classy.
Well, he is classy, isn't he? I mean, he won a Grade 1 champion Novice Chase at Punchestown last year by 6.5 lengths pretty easily. That's the second time in a row he's won.
You better give him the name.
Oh, sorry, Capodanno. Sorry, yeah. That's the second time he's won at the Punchestown Festival. First time being in a 30 run at a Handicap Hurdle. So he's proved that he can handle a big field. He has got bags of class. And, last year's winner, Noble Yates, was a 7-year-old. He's a 7-year-old. Last year's winner, Noble Yates, had a Gold Cup prep this year. That might well be what he was having. In fact, Willie Mullins was talking about running him in a Gold Cup as late as February. Obviously decided to come fresh here because he had the superstar Galopin des Champs, who's a very good winner at a Gold Cup, but you wouldn't be surprised if Capodanno became a Gold Cup horse next year. So, okay, he's got a mark of 160, it's high enough, but he's 7. He's got he's got a big future ahead of him. He's got loads of potential. I think he's a massive player.
And the ground has come right from him.
And the ground's okay, and Danny Mullins is on board. Love Danny Mullins. I can't understand why he's 20 to 1 or he can't.
What's your Grand National record like recently?
As far as backing the winner is concerned, very good, but not for any serious reasons. I have this system, it's the best system in the world actually. I always only back a couple of horses that I really like, and then I get the scattergun out and a very small bets on horses that would really annoy me if they won. As somebody,
so you're going to have 39 bets?
May have about 16. As someone who follows horses all the time, I know all of these horses intimately, and I've backed them for several races. So I will be having a look late on and having a couple of quid here, there, everywhere, and one of them generally wins. But tends not to be the ones that I really fancy.
Well, hopefully not today. So Capodanno is Paul Kealy's big fancy in the Randox Grand National at 5:15. Charlie Poste, your moment has arrived. What wins the Grand National?
Longhouse Poet wins the Grand
You
National.
said that with confidence.
Yeah, as in I thought he took really well to it last year. I thought he over-raced, as in JJ Slevin on board today. It sounds like listening to him talk that he's given this a lot of thought about how he's going to ride this race, and I think he's all still with plenty of upside, yeah.
And Martin Brazel hit the post so many times at Cheltenham. Or crossbar actually is the actual phrase, isn't it? But he hit the post out of crossbar a couple of times at Cheltenham. A terrific target trainer. Very
much so. And he had the winner before, number 6 Valverde, So yeah, as in I give this also a real shout, yeah.
Ali, how are we going over there? 15 seconds left. Have we any winners?
No, you have really got to be quick if you're going to be looking at your Paddy Power account. But don't worry, because if you didn't check in, or these guys haven't checked their account, you're going to be getting 500 anyway into your account. But no winners this time. But we are going to be starting another drop, 10 names again. So do continue to check your Paddy Power account, because there's going to be another 10 names starting any minute now. And you've got 15 minutes. There we are, 15-minute timer started. So check your Paddy Power account and see if there's an extra £5,000 in there. You've got to withdraw it though to keep it.
Poor Joanne will be sick. She'll be sick because somebody is going to come up to Joanne and Claire Morris today and go, Joanne, you could have won £5,000 if you clicked into your account.
If Francesca Stratford-upon-Avon comes up, which is my wife, can I regard her?
You're free to go, Charlie. You're free to go.
You'll literally see me head off of this sofa.
I'll try and sort that out with you behind the scenes here. Rory, Grand National, how are you feeling going into the race?
You
look very
confused.
relaxed.
I'm fairly relaxed. I
want to see some enthusiasm here now, Rory. You're not filling me with confidence.
I've been
working
very hard for this, David. It's difficult to sort of relax and get into the race until you've fulfilled all your duties. And I'm going to fulfil my duties this morning, and then I can really look forward to it.
Well, your duty is to tip the winner, please.
Yeah, and I'm afraid you've already heard all about it, because I'm also with Capodanno. I've nabbed him today, and Paul's given you all the reasons. I decided a while ago that my system for finding Grand National winners was fatally flawed, because it was the same system I was using when I was about 10 or 12 years old at school, which worked quite well in the 19... No, as in looking at horses that you think are ideal for the Grand National, but having your idea of the Grand National fixed at a certain time when the race was different to what it is now. One thing you'd always rely on is you certainly couldn't have a 7-year-old winning the Grand National, and of course last year we had a 7-year-old winning it, and I think my view now is that the 7-year-olds are going to start dominating, and there's a few ones. I think there's 6 of them in the race this year. I wouldn't be at all surprised if 2 of those hit the frame. Whereas for years, when was it, 1940, the previous 7-year-old winner Bogscar. So things have changed, and I've decided to change my approach. And I only really came down to Capodanno a couple of days ago. My original shortlist was, the horses that I would always tend to go about. Mr. Incredible was in there, and Vanillier is in there, and I eventually thought, right, I've got to start looking at these younger horses and looking at horses who might go Grand National and then Gold Cup the following year, as we saw last year as well. And Willie Mullins is the kind of trainer who sometimes he doesn't aim his horses at these handicaps, but if he's got a horse who's on the up and he happens to fall into into a scenario where he can run in handicaps. This year's Gold Cup winner, for example, handicap winner at Cheltenham, because he had an interrupted campaign as a novice hurdler, and that allowed him to run in handicaps. Got the same thing with this horse, Capodanno. He missed half the season, therefore he couldn't really be seriously trained for the Gold Cup. But the Grand National then comes along, and it's an opportunity for him.
Excellent. So since Paul Kealy and Rory Delargy tipped Capodanno, he's been back from 20-1 into 18-1 with Paddy Power. Should people be taking that 18-1? Do you think he'll start shorter?
I wouldn't. Again, it's always interesting when you get a competitive national. There are maybe 7 or 8 horses who could start favourite, and he's one of them. He could become a bit of a plunge horse. If especially if Willie sounds confident today, I could see him being well backed, and Danny's a hugely popular jockey as well, so wouldn't surprise me. I was surprised he wasn't shorter yesterday, but the money seems to be coming for him now. Right,
Ali Vance, not only are you a terrific presenter, but you know your horses inside out. You're a terrific tipster. The floor is yours, okay? I know you're here for finders keepers, but we want to get the most out of you.
I've got the next 45 minutes then. I've narrowed it down to a bit like Paul, 25, I think. I think this year's race, there are a lot of horses that sometimes I think you can rule out half the field a little bit, whereas this year's race, it seems, as you can see in the markets, there are a lot of the favourites seem to be changing a lot. Of the short-priced ones, now that Courage Rambler's a bit of a better price, I like him. I think he's hard to rule out, whereas I think he was a bit short before to be betting on. I did have a bet on Ain't That a Shame earlier in the week.
Now you're talking.
But I don't necessarily think he has the credentials that Courage Rambler has, but he's one of those type of horse. I think Rory's right. Now you can look at the more progressive horse rather than the ones that have had their course experience. I think that horses, if they're going to win it, they often win it first time. I feel like I can rule out Longhouse Poet, Delta Work. If they were going to win it,
sorry about that, Charlie.
Sorry, Charlie. They would have done it last year. So Courage Rambler for me seems the obvious one of the short-priced ones. Then I think there's obviously some big overpriced ones. The Big Breakaway should be shorter. Maybe he's a massive price. Quite like Our Power. Those are the ones, like Paul said, if I don't put a bit of money on them, then...
But your first choice is?
Courage Rambler.
Courage Rambler, okay. So those are the kind of fancies that we have. I'm a massive Ain't That a Shame fan. I think that the handicapper has left him unchanged in 146. Should have won the Paddy Power Chase at Leopardstown at Christmas. Should have won the Munster National. I think today is Ain't That a Shame's day. Had a nice pipe opener at Gorham Park as well. Ali, we have some locations.
We do, yeah. Port Talbot, Yateley, Leicester, Leitrim. Have I got that right?
Yes, you have.
Yeah, because Rory's been helping me this year.
Leitrim.
Dublin, Cork, London, Nottingham, the Ward and Naas. So if you're in one of those town cities, do check your Paddy Power account. £5,000 or euros has dropped in and you've got 9 minutes 40 seconds to claim that 5,000.
Check your accounts if you're in any of those locations. Right, it's time to throw a few darts here, okay? We've got our kind of opinion on who we think will win the race. But let's go for the bigger prices here. Keels, give us 2 or 3 at massive prices that somebody can stick a few quid on.
Yeah, well, Ali's already mentioned one, the Big Breakaway. I mean, he was second in the Welsh National. He's got first-time blinkers, which is always a bit of a worry when you throw him on in a big race. But he's got the talent if he takes to the fences, and he's one of those horses he can climb his fences. Like he can jump really big, but if he gets it into his head that he can actually go through them and he doesn't waste too much time in the air, I think he's a big player because he will stay forever. The ground is absolutely perfect for him. And I think 40 to 1 is a big price. He's talented but quirky, but then a lot of talented but quirky horses have won this race. And the other one is Lifetime Ambition, who seems to have almost doubled in
Ground,
price.
I think, is the...
Yeah, ground is the issue, but it's not like he hasn't got form on soft ground. I mean, I suppose there's an issue possibly with stamina, but he was second to Capitano last year at Punchestown. He's had a look at the fences in the Sefton over a trip. There's a bit on the short side for him. But he was fourth, if I can remember correctly. And I think he took to him really, really well. And I think he's going to get round. If he gets home, he'll be somewhere about.
What do you fancy in the Grand National? Get your comments in. Let us know. Like, share and subscribe to Good Morning Aintree. Let us know what you fancy in the Grand National. I'm sure you've got a fancy. Let us know. Charlie, big prices. Come on, give us something.
I'm with Keels with Lifetime Ambition, and I'm gonna chuck in Our Power. Does he qualify or not?
That's fine. Yeah, he just about sneaks in.
Just about sneaks in. Yeah.
I think he's a 20 to 1 shot at the moment. Yeah.
Good form the last twice. Saw it out well at Kempton. My concern would be that whether he quite has the tactical speed early. I'm not so much sure where your position in the race matters as long as you're travelling strong. And I would just worry that he might lack a bit of tactical speed to travel comfortably, but I think if he does and he can lay up with them, I think he'll finish off well in this.
Excellent, Rory. Give us a few bigger prices.
Well, listen, I actually agree with what's been said.
There's a lot of agreement going on here for Grand National.
Lifetime Ambition was one of those that I'm sure I absolutely trust him. I think he's the kind of horse who gets placed rather than wins in his races, but he's also the kind of horse who looks after himself. He's a good jumper, and I can see him running well for a long way. He was on my long list, but not my short list. But he's a surprisingly big price. I thought he'd be 25s. He's sort of nudging 66 to 1 on the exchanges, and that's a daft price. One that hasn't been mentioned that I'd give a chance to at a big price would be Gabby's Cross.
Oh,
Gabby's
like
Cross,
him.
Similar sort of profile to Ain't That a Shame. He's been punted from the same yard. From a trainer, he knows what it takes. Both of those have got a similar sort of profile to Manila Times, sort of coming up at the same time. Gabby's Cross can belt one, which is a little bit of a concern, and stamina would be also a little bit of a worry. But we're getting that. Last year's winner hadn't won beyond 2 mile 6, and that's something we're going to see a lot more, I think, in the future. Horses who will stay but haven't had an opportunity to show they can, whereas horses who are proven at marathon trips just tend to lack the toe to go there and get up with the pace. So you have to look beyond and ask which horses you think will stay rather than which horses are proven stayers.
Ali, we have got some names.
We do, yep. Tamara Pamela in Port Talbot, Tony Marie in Yateley, Ramela in Leicester, Alan in Leitrim, Thomas in Dublin.
Guess what? We have a winner.
We've got two winners.
Tony
Marie and Yateley are winners, and Ramela in Leicester are winners. So well done. You got the others on the names here on the board, though, have got 5 minutes to check their Paddy Power account. And don't forget, you've got to withdraw that cash. So if you see 5,000 in your account, you've got to take that cash out to claim it.
That strenuous exercise of taking money out of your account. It's so tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, Paddy Power have been very generous.
Have you ever done it?
So you've got just over 5 minutes to withdraw your cash then. Do check your account if these or your names are on the board and you're from these cities. So
very well done to Ramila and Tony Marie from Yateley. Excellent, well done. You've won $5,000 each. Keels, one horse we haven't mentioned in the Grand National is Annie Second Now, who's been placed for the last 2 years. He's trained by a master in Ted Wadge who won the race with Papillon. Knows what it takes. He's been there, he's done it. He's kind of got a sleeve of a T-shirt. Could he do it today?
Extremely high class horse. He's going to go there for a long way. You wouldn't be surprised if he's placed, but winning out of 167 at the age of 11, I don't think so. He's got too much weight, isn't he, at his age?
Okay.
He'd be in the first half a dozen though, won't he?
I think so. He finished in the first
nailed
6,
on,
yeah.
isn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to give our 1, 2, 3, 4s, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll start off. I think this could be a repeat of Manila Times beating Balco de Flow, hopefully for Henry de Brown.
They're not running.
All right, Keels. Smart arse. 1 for me is Ain't That a Shame. 2 is Gabby's Cross. 3 is Longhouse Poet. And 4 is Galvin, even though I'd probably put Delta Work in there. But that's my 1, 2, 3, 4. Paul Kealy, your 1, 2, 3, 4 for
Capodanno,
Grand National.
Capodanno, Lamilos, who we haven't mentioned, won the big race at Newbury earlier in the season. Had Korak Rambler away behind there. And then Lifetime Edition and the Big Breakaway.
Lifetime Ambition.
That's what I said.
No, you said Edition.
Did I?
Anyway,
okay.
That's Paul Keely's 1, 2, 3, 4. Charlie Post.
Longhouse Poet, Galvin, Lifetime Ambition, Our Power.
And Rory Delargy.
Capodanno, Korak Rambler, Mr. Incredible, Vanillier.
And to
with
round us off.
our par 5th.
Oh, do you want to keep going now?
Oh no! If you find the first 5 with Paddy Power, you can get yourself a little bit of a payout as well this week with Paddy's Big 5.
And to round us off beautifully, Ali Vance, your 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ain't That a Shame, Correct Rambler, Delta Work, The Big Breakaway, and Our Power.
Our Power, there you go. Those are 1, 2, 3, 4s for the 2023 Randox Grand National. It's at 5:15. It's the greatest sporting occasion of the year. It's going to be a corker. Now, before we find out if we've got any more winners in our Finders Keepers, you've got to join the Race and Post Members Club. There's 50% off the first 3 months. Previewing the Maghull Novices'H Chase, and we have a 4 to 11 favourite in John Bon. Not long till May is currently 9 to 2. Ran such a cracker in the Turners at Cheltenham. Marvel the Cersei is 11 to 1. Calico is 18 to 1. And Fusane is 33 to 1. Of course, Banbridge, who was such a brilliant winner the other day, doesn't run, which leaves the door, you would imagine, Paul Kealy, very much open for John Bon. But Paul, how good is John Bon? Is he any good?
He's very good, isn't he? But he's not absolutely top class. He's not the superstar that everyone thought he was going to be because he cost 500 grand and he's a brother of Duvan, etc. But he's still very good. He's been running over the wrong trip all the time, though. He definitely wants further. You can understand why he's running in this race, though, because it was always going to cut up badly. But I can't imagine that he'll be staying over 2 mile much longer. But he'll win this. He really has got nothing to beat. I wouldn't be surprised if Calico was the one who followed him home. He's shown that when he made him work at Warwick last time, he's shown that wasn't quite the fluke everybody thought it was since then, and I think he might follow him home, but there are far more interesting races than this one on the card. Okay,
straight forecast to start the card for Paul Kealy. John Bon to beat Calico. Charlie, are you a John Bon fan?
I'm not a John Bon hater, if that makes sense. I'm pretty just lukewarm about him. I think he's a very good horse. He, just like Keel said, he's not the horse that everyone hyped him up to be. But it's not easy being an elite horse, is it? As in, like, so he's got a very high level of performance. It's going to be good enough, I would imagine, to win this race. But it also wouldn't surprise me if there was a big shock here. As in, like, I think that Aidan Coleman referenced tacky ground as not helping his jumping at Cheltenham. I think it's going to be tacky ground today. It'd be surprising if he gets beat, but I wouldn't want to be wading in. I'd probably look at Marble de Cerisi in the without market or something like that.
Yeah, it looked like Marble de Cerisi didn't stay in the plate at Cheltenham.
Yeah, exactly.
Henry Roberts seems to think maybe a stronger run 2 miles would suit better.
Yeah.
So.
And just, not long till May, I'd say definitely 1 to 2.5 and was probably ideally positioned at Cheltenham. Calico got a very good ride at Warwick when he had John Bon sort of shaken a little bit, by Harry Skelton and Fusain can't win.
Okay, fair enough, Charlie. There you go, Fusain. You just can't win. No luck since, Ali, no?
Right, 2 winners then in this second drop, but we're going to be doing another 10 names shortly then. Here we go. Let's start the countdown. So you've got 15 minutes to check your accounts, and there will be £5,000 or euros in there. You've got to withdraw the cash. It'll be gone after 15 minutes. So check your accounts. And what else are people doing in the morning of the Grand National if you're not checking your accounts?
This is the exciting bit, because there's no locations and there's no names. So anybody, you could have won £5,000 because we've no names, no locations. Check your account. You could have won £5,000 in Finders Keepers. Rory, John Bon.
Yeah, he should get it one. I would like to see Aidan Coleman jump out and dominate this. I think the one thing that went against him in the Arc was he was allowing other horses to dictate terms, and I think John Bon's always been best when he's calling the shots against other horses. He likes to boss them, and my only worry would be if he didn't let someone else set a modest pace and it turned tactical. I think he can go forward. He did in his first couple of starts. And that's the way to win this. So I'd probably, if I was backing him in the race, I'd probably wait as long as possible and make sure that he was going to set off in front. If he was going to be held up, I'd probably leave him alone. But really, he should get that job done. It doesn't look a tremendously strong race. I would agree that Marble de Cerisi is probably the biggest danger.
Absolutely. So it's a kind of a lukewarm reaction for John Bon, but we think he'll get the job done because it is a poor renewal of the opener on Grand National Day. But it is a clean sweep for John Bon, currently our 4-11 favourite. With Paddy Power, it's going to be a favourite start to the day. Moving on to a much, much harder, trickier puzzle to solve. It is the Village Hotels Handicap Hurdle, and your Potemps final winner from Cheltenham, Good Time Johnny, is currently your 5-1 favourite. West Balboa has been extremely well backed overnight into 5-1 joint favourite. Mexico, for price-wise, Tom Siegel is 15-2. On Tolier, Paul Kealy's nap of the 2023 Cheltenham Festival. Is he keeping the faith? We'll find out in a minute. It's currently an 8-1 shot. It's 10-1 party business. And it is 12-1 bar, which takes in Gatsby Grey and Mill Green. So, Keels, we went head-to-head with our naps in Cheltenham. I was walking on air. You were on Tolier, who you like so much you actually learned how to pronounce. Are you keeping the faith?
Well, it's a difficult one to say this because I actually changed the tipping copy yesterday because I was tipping him and I was putting up a good bet on him, but then obviously the rain allied to the water and changed all the ground again, and I bet John Joe for the first time at Cheltenham and he was like poo-pooing his chances, can't win now, bad ground. He ran an absolute blinder, so he can still be on the premises, but I'd have really, really fancied him on good ground, and the thing is I have also already had a decent bet on him because I was backing him on Wednesday. Problem now is, do I want to back him now? Would I back him now? No. The ground has gone back in favour of the Potemps winner, Good Time Johnny. Would Good Time Johnny have won the Potemps with another £5 on his back? I think he would have done. Yeah. Because he won it very easily, came from absolutely miles off the pace. If he's in the same form, he still would have won the beat.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this course actually might even suit him better than,
quite possible.
100%.
Than Cheltenham, yeah. I think he's the right favourite here, isn't he?
Definitely. I suppose it comes down to, did he get a brilliant ride at Cheltenham, or did he just have that much in hand that everything could kind of go against him and he still I mean, when he jumped in like the from the last of the line, it was just unbelievable, wasn't it? I mean,
I think Tony actually,
yeah.
Tony actually said to Lee McKenna before the Thames line, if you're in contention, turn in, you're going to win this race.
Yeah,
that's how sure they were. Like,
yeah, and it was incredible. Yeah, and so like, I agree with you. I think the twists and turns and ups and downs at Cheltenham maybe didn't help him find rhythm. Aintrie's way more straightforward, and you got an incredibly long straight where he can take aim at them. So there's every chance he can back it up. And with Mexico myself, I thought he looked very good up to 3 miles.
You and many others, as you can see here, price-wise, our top tipster, along with the man to my left here, Paul Kealy, has gone for Mexico as well. I know Tony Calvin fancies Mexico, and now Charlie Post fancies Mexico.
Yeah, two way better judges than me, but that gives me a bit of confidence. Yeah, I mean he'll handle slow conditions very, very well. Up to 3 mile, he looked very good at Uttoxeter. Yards taking this out a couple of years ago. Stuart Edmonds as well. I think he's a good target trainer. Yeah, I'm pretty keen on his chances. If
we go to Mexico, Rory, are you going to Mexico?
I'm not going to Mexico. I do respect his chances, and I agree with what Charlie says about Stuart Edmonds. He's a trainer I respect an awful lot. He's been in the game a long time. Obviously, he was assistant to René Robeson for a long time, and essentially he was doing all the training of the horses then. So he's got a wealth of experience. I like West Balboa. The price has rather gone. I put her up in the Irish field yesterday. I thought she was a good price.
Excuse me, this is a Racing Post show. How dare you mention the Irish field? Only joking.
What can I do?
The Irish field.
Yeah, she's not tried 3 miles, but she's looked like she potentially could improve for a test of stamina. I suspect the sort of the intermediate trip is ideal for her, but she won the Lanzarote on it was a Lanzarote, wasn't it? It was dreadful ground there at Kempton that day, and she stayed on better than most. Only 4 of them finished, but she kept going really well, and I think the 3 miles is within her compass. She's very lightly raced and can do better still.
Excellent. Case well made. We have locations, Ali.
Outlaw Peter for me in that race. Each
Peter
way, yeah. Right, we've got locations rather than for our next 5,000 drop for each of these cities. Someone in these cities has won 5,000.
Goleen. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Is that a good pronunciation? Goleen.
Yeah, Goleen. I wasn't even going to try some of these Irish.
Her name was Jolene, wasn't it? Jolene and Goleen.
Nina. Is that right?
Yeah, that's Tipperary.
There we are, yeah. Nina, Castleknock, Littlehampton, Trowbridge, Goleen, Drogheda, Nottingham, Derby, London, and
Enniscorthy. So well.
Oh, no.
Top right-hand corner, have another go. Top right-hand corner, have another go. Come on.
Well, look, it's spelt Drogheda. Is that not how you say it? But I know that's not how you say it. Come on. Drogheda. So if you're in one of those cities, check your accounts. You could have 5,000 in there. You've got to withdraw it in the next 8 minutes, 50 seconds.
This is the last one, isn't it? It's the last one. The last finders keepers. You've got 8 minutes to win $5,000 if you're in Drogheda, if you're Nottingham, Derby, London, Enniscorthy, Nina, Castleknock, Littlehampton, Trowbridge or Goleen. You could have $5,000 in your account, and you were fancying Outlaw Peter.
Yeah, Outlaw Peter.
And you must really fancy it because we spoke before the show, and you said, "Oh, I'll come in here and there with little fancies here and there." But I wasn't even going to ask you, and you came with Outlaw Peter. So this is obviously a strong fancy.
Look, I'm always going to try and make my opinion heard, so you don't even have to ask me. But look, I just think he's overpriced. I think Paul Nicholls' team in good form, progressive type, are just 12-1, big field. If I was going to have a bet in the race, I would just look for a bit more value.
I agree. I thought he bolted up at Kempton last time. I think the form has worked out reasonably well. Harbour Lake, who I fancied yesterday, flew home to finish 5th. I think Outlaw Peter is a big player. He's stepping back up to 3 miles. Was just touched off earlier on in the season over 3 miles at Musselburgh. So yeah, I'm a big Outlaw Peter fan in that. But that is a tremendously tricky handicap hurdle. We're moving on to the Turner's Mersey Novice Hurdle, and this is going to be a corker. This is one of the strongest novice hurdles of the week at Aintree, and at the moment your favourite and very well backed favourite is Dark Raven from the Willie Mullen stable, into 3-1, a much bigger price overnight. 7-2, Hermes Allen, can he have redemption for Cheltenham? Irish Point is 6-1, kept fresh for this. You wear it well, your Mayor's Novice Hurdle winner at the Cheltenham Festival is 8-1 shot. And it is 9-1, let's be clear about it. 11-1 Authorised Speed, who my colleague on Up in the Ante, Johnny Deneen, is very, very keen on. Springwell Babe bolted up last time, it was 11-1. Katira 12-1. It's a strong race, Keels.
It is a strong race, brings in loads of strands from the festival, doesn't it? All the novice hurdles, in fact, absolutely all of them. Dark Raven from the Supreme, Hermes Allen from the Ballymore, You Wear It Well from the Wares, Let's Be Clear About It from the Albert Bartlett. I like Let's Be Clear About It if the ground stays sticky and soft and makes it a test of the Swift. I think he just did not get home in the Albert Bartlett. I thought he was going to win turning in. I thought he was going easily the best of all of them. Hopefully, the drop-in trip, but a test at the trip on the ground will be absolutely perfect for it. Very difficult race.
Very difficult race. Charlie Poste, where do you stand with Hermes Allen? Obviously, a remarkable late plunge ahead of the Ballymore. Who would have thought he would have went off favourite ahead of Imperi Pass? Everybody wants to be on him just before the race. How good is he, and can we forgive him that performance at Cheltenham?
Well, I suppose if we're looking at Paul's record in the Ballymore with Denman and Braveman's game both getting turned over, I suppose it's no restriction to him being top class in the future, is it? But I mean, I didn't think there was a whole heap of excuses. There's not been anything really come out to suggest why he got beat there, is it? You know, I mean, like he had the run of the race, he just got whacked, you know, and comprehensively.
Did he have the run of the race though? Harry Kealy kind of.
We talked about what a good jockey Harry Cobden is, and he is day in day out. He's excellent, but he did not ride a good race on that occasion. He kept going up on the outside of Champ Kealy, even though Champ Kealy was clearly hanging right and jumping that way.
But do you think it was enough to make him get beat as far as he did?
No, not as far as he did, but it may have disappointed the horse.
Fair enough,
you know, sometimes horses run below par just because, you know, they themselves get disappointed and aren't competitive, whereas on Perry Pass has just gone up the inside. There's a big gap there, and he just didn't get competitive for whatever reason.
I hate what I'm about to say here, and I hate saying things like this, but if he didn't run in the Ballymore at Cheltenham, he would be 5-4 here.
100%, and I mean, so I suppose if that is if you're a Hermes Allen fan, then it's Christmas, isn't it? Because you're getting a serious price about a horse that...
It's Christmas for me, Charlie.
You're in.
He did though, didn't he?
He did what?
He did one.
I know he did. Will you cheer up, will you? I know he did.
He's the Grinch. Well, I mean, he's the Christmas Grinch, isn't he?
You wear it well, very much, Frank. The form of the Challow, and of course, people slag the Challow off every year because no one's gone and won the Challow and the Ballymore.
Before you slag off the Challow Hurdle, we have names, Rory. Ali, we've got some names.
10 people could be very cheerful this morning. Check your account. If you are Jessica from Littlehampton, Denise from Trowbridge, Patrick from Galeen, Mark from Drogheda, Drogheda, Melvin from Nottingham, Marley from Derby, Jack from London, Linda from Enniscorthy, Naomi from Nina, or Stephanie.
We have a winner!
We have a winner. Melvin, well done for checking your account and withdrawing that 5,000. The rest of you have got just over 4 minutes to check your accounts and withdraw the 5,000 that is in there.
Beautifully done, Ali. You were talking about the Challow.
Yeah, people tend to knock the Challow because of its poor record of producing Ballymore winners. But of course, it has produced Albert Bartlett winners, it's produced Supreme winners, it's produced top-class chasers over the years. It just hasn't particularly, it's one of those stats that's going to get busted at some stage. And the form of the Challow this year has turned out to be absolutely top-notch. Often it's a small field race because there's usually an outstanding horse in it, it's usually in bad ground, and a lot of people don't want to tear the guts out of that sort of ground. But this year, it was a big field, it's worked out really well, it keeps getting franked. So if you do ignore that Cheltenham run, then Hermes Allen, could be a blindingly always one staring you in the face. Not that I'm actually with them in this race.
You're not? I didn't ask for your tip.
I'm with Keels. Let's be clear about it as well. Yeah, okay. Going on the soft ground angle, and again this notion that everyone kind of makes out Aintree's a real speed track. I'm just not completely convinced. I'm not convinced by that at all. A big long straight. I think you've got to get home real well, especially when the ground gets slow.
It's spoken from a man who knows. He's ridden the track before. Let's be clear about it for Charlie Poste. Rory, your selection?
Yeah, I wanted to be with something at an each-way price here. And Katira, again, I'm going with the Skeltons, 2 races in a row. She's a well-bred mare. Charlie knows her very well. There's not an awful lot off her, but she's game and she's smart. She's won her last 2 races at Huntingdon and Market Raisin. Hard on the bridle, difficult to know exactly what her ceiling is. This is a big step up for her, but she could be very good indeed.
There you go, she could be very good indeed. Those are your selections for the Turners Mersey Novices'H Hurdle. I'm a massive Hermes Allen fan. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt from Cheltenham. I think Aintree, I know he won at Cheltenham on the old course in November, but I think Aintree is going to suit Hermes Allen much better than Cheltenham did. 2 votes for Let's Be Clear About It for Charlie Poste and Paul Kealy, and Rory Delargy is on Katira at 12-1. That is your Turners Mersey Novices'H Hurdle. And moving on to another Grade 1. What a race we have in store here. The JRL Group Liverpool Hurdle and home by the Lee. I spoke about Johnny Deneen earlier. Read Johnny Deneen's up in the anti-column in the Racing Post today. He is all over home by the Lee. Couldn't believe the price yesterday. He's obviously backed because it's into 7-2 favourite now with Paddy Power. Marie's Rock is second favourite. A poor run in the Mare's Hurdle at Cheltenham at 4-1. Flooring Porter, your dual stairs hurdle winner, is 11-2. Champ, can Champ do it? He's here fresh, 13-2. And Sire de Burley, last year's winner and the Stayers Hurdle winner, is also 13-2. 7-1 Drashil Dasher. Meet and Greet is 14-1. And Brewing Up a Storm is 25-1. I'm going to mix it up a bit here. I'm going to come to you first, Rory.
That's very kind of you.
Because I usually interrupt you for winners or finders keeper stuff, so hopefully you'll get through this.
Okay, we'll see.
You have a minute and 20 seconds.
I'm slightly concerned about the ground. Obviously, I nailed my colours to the mast with Marie's Rock earlier in the week. Slightly concerned about the ground because her form thus far has been at up to 2 mile 5, so it's a new trip for her. She has been keen earlier in her career, but I think 3 miles will be within her compass. I think she's got the best form in the race. She beat Dashel Thrasher easily in the Liverpool Hurdle, and of course he was second in the Stayers Hurdle. Hugely consistent horse as well, Dashel Thrasher. So her beating of him is better than anything else has achieved this season in the race. The question is whether she will stay 3 miles, and I'm on good ground I'd have been confident. On soft ground I'm slightly less confident, but I'm with her and I've got to stick there. Very
well done, Ali. 44 seconds. Let's give it one final plug. Finders keepers. Let's go.
Yeah,
give
44 seconds. And Mark from Drogheda, Melvin from Nottingham has already withdrawn that £5,000 cash. So if your name is here and you're from those cities, check your Paddy Power account because you could have £5,000 in there. All you got to do is withdraw it. In the next 25 seconds, Paddy Power have already given away 3 lots of £5,000 this morning, and they want to give away more, so please do check your Paddy Power accounts.
Come on, Patrick, you can do it. Patrick and Goleen, if you're watching, check your account. 13 seconds. Mark and Drogheda, come on, you can do it. £5,000 in your account. Linda and Enniscorthy, Naomi and Nina, Jack in London. 5 seconds. Come on. 3, 2, 1. No, Melvin is our only winner, Ali.
Melvin's our only winner this time, but we have given away 3 £5,000 this morning. And if your name was up there, check your account anyway, because you should have 500 in there as well as a nice thank you gift from Paddy Power. But so yeah, 15,000 given away this morning by Paddy Power, plus all those 500s.
I did enjoy that game of Finders Keepers this morning, I have to say. We had 3 big winners who win £5,000. The rest of you win £500 each. It's all right for Saturday morning at 8:30, 9 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah, helps for this afternoon.
Absolutely. Well done to all our Finders, Keepers, winners. Sorry, I interrupt you, I know, but your selection was?
Marie's Rock.
Marie's Rock. Charlie Post, what wins? A gruelling stamina test here.
Flooring Porter for me.
Oh.
I'd be Gavin Cromwell, big race double, I think. Yeah, as in had just an interrupted prep by all accounts for before the Stayers at Cheltenham. I think things have been pretty smooth since then. He ran a really good race. Only beat 3.5 lengths by Cider Burley. So yeah, hopefully it's been plain sailing since then, and he's a quality horse.
How are you feeling? Have you cheered up there?
Yeah.
You're looking well today. You have a nice blazer on.
Thank you very much.
And he did very well because Mrs. Kealy is not at home this week, so you have to dress yourself.
I have to dress myself. I have to cook for myself. McDonald's, KFC, 2 curries.
2 curries.
And
you've got producer Sam staying with you.
Producer Sam's staying with me. Yeah, he's kept us on the straight and narrow. He's one of the most conscientious people I know, so we haven't been getting drunk at all week long.
Has he been managing that, curbing you?
He has, yeah. I wish I was like Sam. There we go. Anyway, Champ is going to win this.
Well, I think Champ will win this.
I've spent most of Champ's life opposing him at short prices, but I keep looking at that 13-2 and his record when he's fresh. He's never had the first 2 when he's come off a break. He's just got a really, really good chance. I mean, okay, he's probably not as good as he was, but I think Cider Burley showed him winning the Stayers Hurdles that there isn't an absolute standout in the division, and therefore, if Cider Burley can do it at the age of 11, why can't Champ?
Yeah, I'm a big Champ fan. I think the freshness is key for Champ. Didn't go to the Stayers Hurdle, he goes to Aintree instead. The track will suit better. He did trade very short and running in the long walk, which was rerouted to Kempton on St Stephen's or Boxing Day. I think Champ is a big player. At 13-2, Ali, have you got a fancy?
If I was going to have a bet, I would wait and see what happens with Dashel Thrasher. If he drifts anymore, I'd go with him. I think he's so consistent and just a big price. Well, and I think
would love to see him win.
Price, yeah.
The cheapness are interesting with him.
Yeah.
He ran a cracker
because he wandered around a little bit at Cheltenham, but normally he's as straight as a dime.
I wondered if that was tongue-in-cheek when Jeremy Scott said that about we're putting cheap fees on him because he does have a habit of drifting around.
There you go, that is our Liverpool Hurdle, and you will see our selections on the right-hand side of your screen. We're big Champ fans here on Good Morning Aintree. That is your Liverpool Hurdle.
Big steam of the Champ, that's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We're big Champ fans here. Moving on to probably the second trickiest puzzle of the day. It is the William Hill Handicap Chase. It's the one before the big one. The Grand National obviously is at 5.15, but preceding it is an extremely competitive William Hill Handicap Chase. Your 11-2 favourite is Beauport. Shake 'em Up Harry for Harry Redknapp is 13-2. Midnight River is 15-2. Eldorado Allen dropping in class down into a handicap is 8-1. Nasalam, who Paul Kealy was so keen on at Cheltenham in the Ultimate, but didn't get much of a run for his money. Coconut Splash, my fancy, is 10-1. Kinodo Q2, is that right?
Kinondo Kwetu.
Oh, be the Lord. That was very impressive.
We sold him, so I should know.
Give us that again. That was beautiful.
Kinondo Kwetu.
And he's a winning machine, isn't he?
It was where we went and stayed on honeymoon in Kenya.
So you named the horse?
We sold him.
Oh, wow. Tell us more.
He was an absolute disaster for us. I think we bought him for 28 grand. He got beat first time out, and then the winner got disqualified, so we were a winner even though we weren't. And then we ran him, and he won a winners of one, point to point. And then he failed the vet at the sales, and we sold him for, I think, 15 grand or something. And Sam England, and she pursued me asking for a bit of luck money as well. I'll never forget it. It was like every time I turned around, she wanted a little drink to make him lucky. And yeah. Well,
it worked. You obviously got plenty of drinks.
I saw her the other day. I said, I think I'm due that luck money back, aren't I? You've had all the luck out of him. Yeah.
He's a winning machine. What kind of a chance do you have today? The Trackle suit.
The Trackle suit. I think he's had a wind up. She said he is a hard horse to get big. It's fit. He's a big lad. I think the Reynoldstown, it almost kind of. I think they were just using it as a tee-up for Cheltenham, and then, of course, the race fell apart and they made him favourite. The ground might be a concern, whether it's gone a bit slow for him, but he's been a great horse for him. And they're a shrewd operator, Sam and Johnny England. Good operation.
Tell me, how are you honestly feling when he's winning all these races? Are you actually sick?
I'm chuffed,
tell the truth now.
It's good for the brand, as in it's even when we're losing, we're winning, that's all right, yeah.
That was a bargain. It was like when the Racing Post took on Paul Kealy. A bargain. 15 grand.
Yeah.
Give us the pronunciation again.
Kinondo Kwetu.
Will he win?
I hope he does. I'm not with him.
Okay, what do you fancy?
I'm with you. Coconut Splash. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, as in I thought this was a really tricky race. I just thought his horse is unexposed at the trip, isn't he? The run at Hereford behind City Chief, who then backed up by winning the Talton at Wetherby. And just if he can eke out a bit more progress, he's ran well here over hurdles as well. And I just thought it was a very, very open contest, and I wanted to go with something at a bit of an each-way play.
I've said all season that Coconut Splash is going to win one of these big field handicaps where he gets loads of cover, and hopefully we'll get into a rhythm. And I think now 10-1 Coconut Splash, I think, is a little bit of value here. Keels, big field handicap.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Racing Post got me for a hell of a lot less than 15 grand, but it was 1987. I'm going to say Carl Philippe. I think he ran really, really well to be 7th to Korak Rambler in the Ultima. He was one of the best of the ones that was up with a really, really strong pace. And I think they just overdid it a little bit. I'm not 100% certain that he's the strongest stayer in the world, but this track will be easier for him. And the other one, Bow to Greatness, a couple of his runs early season are really interesting. A second to a horse that I've forgotten, but a third to Complete Unknown, or second to Black Jerry, who's won 2 or 3 times since. Those runs make him look in a good light in terms of handicapping. He's got to overcome a couple of poor ones, but he is fresh, and I think he might run well at a big price. Excellent.
Harry Redknapp's going to be busy following his horses here. What do you fancy, Rory?
Well, I've put up Beauport, but he's favourite now, and you can't really make a case that he should be favourite on the form that he's shown in his last 3 starts. He's been a little bit disappointing.
Listen, Rory, 11-2 winner is fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
I'd rather be getting a bigger price, but as I said, I've put him up overnight. I really like him. I thought he was going to make an absolutely top-notch steeplechaser as a novice hurdler. He won the EBF final at Sandown. He's big. He's got scope. He's a real trier. Loves soft ground, and I guess it's the soft ground that's maybe seen him move into favouritism. But he impressed me at Carlisle in the Colin Parker Memorial on his Chase debut. That was a really good run, but he hasn't gone on as expected since. I'm convinced that at some stage he will, and he's come down the handicap since the start of the season. He ran an absolute blinder at this day last year in the 3-mile handicap hurdle when he was badly hampered on the home turn. The leader that day dropped back really quickly, and he got stuck behind the leader, and Jordan Gainford could not get him away, so he just dropped right back through the field, eventually managed to pull out, lost a load of ground and flew home to be 4th. So we know he likes the track, we know he likes the ground. He hasn't absolutely convinced with stamina yet, but I'm hopeful. So at 11-2 he'd be a smallish bet. I was hoping to get a little bit better, but he is the pick for me in the race.
Those are your selections for the William Hill Handicap Chase. Myself and Charlie are singing from the same hymn sheet with Coconut Splash. It's Carl Philippe at 16-1 for Paul Kealy and Beauport for Rory Delargy. We've already obviously previewed the big one at 5:15. So moving on to the finale, the nightcap of the 2023 Grand National Festival at Aintree. And what a bumper we have in store here. It's the Weatherby's, National Hunt Stallions, UK Standard Open Flat Race. Pearl of Phils for Gordon Elliott is currently our 5-1 favourite. Blizzard of Oz, very impressive last time. For Willie Mullins is 11-2. 13-2 Captain Cody, a stablemate. Centara is 15-2. Go to War 10-1. And it is 12-1 bar. Very quickly, folks. Your selection, Keels?
Well, it was. Oh yeah, no, Samui's still in it.
Yep.
Yeah, Samui, Gordon Elliott's one-time winner, flatbred, got an able in the pedigree somewhere. Give that a chance. Don't bumpers are not for me. One bit of late news. Nationals down to 39. Escaria 10 is out.
Escaria 10
No
is
rule
out.
4 there.
Yeah, Escaria 10 is out. Probably of the 40 runners, the one horse that had absolutely no chance. He's as good a chance now out of the race as he did.
The one horse that will be delighted he's out.
Charlie, what wins the bumper?
Beat the Bat, Harry Fry. He was impressive at Chepstow. Finished second to Golden Ace, who's franked that form since. And Harry Fry's bumper horse have been going well lately. So he's operating at a good strike rate at the moment. So.
Excellent. Beat the Bat. Rory Delargy, what wins the bumper?
Yeah, listen, it's hard to get much enthusiasm up for the bumper an hour after the Grand National, and I just wanted to be with something at a price here. Bertie's Bally's had 4 runs, he's improved, and I thought he was quite impressive at Kelso last time out. Because of his collections, he's now one of the biggest price horses in here. He'd be small stakes, but he might sneak into the frame at a big break.
Well, if as luck goes as a 12-1 shot, I don't understand why Mataccio is such a bigger price. I thought he travelled beautifully last time, probably hit the front a little bit too soon. I think this is a decent horse. He's 22-1 for Alan King and Adrian Heskin. Had a big layoff, ran a lovely race in his return to action at Warwick, and I think 22-1 is too big of a price about Mataccio. So it is charity bet time here on Good Morning Aintree. We're trying to raise some much needed funds for charities of our choice. We did have a winner earlier on in the week with Shitchkin. How did we do yesterday?
Nope.
No, nothing, I'm afraid.
No, nothing.
Beaten going to the first fence, I'm afraid, and after the full start on the top one.
Okay, so let's... Our charities, first of all. Your chosen
Such
charity.
a bad day yesterday. My charity is me. We'll go Great Ormond Street.
Great Ormond Street or Paul Kealy Street. Charlie Post, your charity.
They put me on the spot here. I'm going to go Racing Welfare. I've pedalled a lot of miles for them in recent years, yeah.
Excellent. Rory, still?
Prostate Cancer UK. Yeah.
Prostate Cancer UK. Ali, charity?
The Mark Davis Injured Riders Fund.
Excellent. And I'll stick with prostate cancer as well. So those are the charities, but we just have to make you a few quid now, okay? So Ali, you're our guest of honour today. You've done a brilliant job with our Finders Keepers. One winner on Grand National Day, please.
It has to be in the National, Corrich Rambler.
Corrich Rambler, our good friends at Paddy Power, have given us 50 quid each to try and raise some funds for our charity. So Ali is going big. She's going for Corrich Rambler in the big one at 5:15, the Randox Grand National. Rory Delargy, your charity bet, please.
Capodanno in the Grand National.
Capodanno at 18-1, I think now. We'll try and get 20-1 off Paddy. Capodanno at 20-1 for Rory Delargy. Charlie Post.
We've got to go in the National, so Longhouse Poet.
Longhouse Poet for Charlie Post. Paul Kealy?
Yeah, Capodanno for me as well.
So if Capodanno
Let's
wins,
hit them twice.
we have some nice little charity bets. And I'm going to stick away, because we've got plenty of charity bets in the Grand National. I'm going to stay away, and I'm going to go for Hermes Allen, who I think can make up for his losses in the Ballymore Cheltenham at 4-1, which I think is a decent price. Now into 16-1, Capodanno. Yous are moving markets, boys.
Oh, yes.
It is Grand National Day. I'd say you're excited. Rory, I'm sensing as the show has gone on, your excitement levels have gradually risen.
My excitement levels are rising, and they will continue to rise through the afternoon. And, yeah, it'll be very good.
And Keels, we're spending another couple of hours together for Racing Post Live from 2 o'clock, I think, today.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll get to see how miserable I look after the National if I don't find the winner.
Okay, there you go. Racing Post Live from 2 o'clock on our YouTube channel. Charlie, where are you watching the National?
Well, I mean, I thought I was doing live, but maybe I'm not now, so then I'll be watching it at home, yeah, which I can't look forward to. Yeah.
You were jabbed off, were you?
Well, so allegedly so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Ali, of course, you've 2 small kids. You're
Yeah.
not away from the day, have you?
Yeah, no, I'm back. We're having a bit of a sort of watch party, a few friends over, sort of all around the television, try and get the kids involved and engaged in it, and hopefully one of us can pick a winner for backing as many as we, sort of 39 of the field.
You could have me and Paul Kealy gate crashing maybe around 5:30 maybe.
You're all welcome. You're all welcome.
On how the Grand National goes. So that's it for Good Morning Aintree. It's Grand National Day, as I said at the start of the show. It's one of the greatest sporting occasions of the year. My thanks to Ali Vance, to Rory Delargy, to Charlie Poste, and my good friend Paul Kealy. I've been David Jennings. Enjoy Grand National Day. It's going to be glorious, and thanks for watching Good Morning Aintree.